And welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a quick look at the J35XS. And between this and the J35D, which share the exact same battle rating, you might wonder what makes one worse than the other. Well, what makes the J35D worse than the J35XS is that it has a gun less. And that's essentially it. These two planes are basically interchangeable, however this thing gets a much better loadout. This thing gets 2 extra Aim-9Js, which are definitely helpful considering the playstyle of this vehicle, and then it also gets flares, and you can see, you can count them literally, the large caliber ones, and it gets 12. It's not the most, but on a plane like the J35 it is definitely useful. You get the same engine, you get the same airframe, so all in all it's a straight up upgrade. The 30mm, you only get one barrel, you only get one on the right side over here, and that is not the best firepower. The thing is, with the J35D, most of your kills will not be the guns anyway. You don't have tracers, you have limited ammo, they're far apart, and they don't pack that much of a punch regardless. So I will trade in this singular gun for 2 extra missiles and flares any day of the week. And then let's take a quick look at the tech tree here to see if the J35XS actually is worth it, considering you need to grind something out. The J35XS is probably the best premium you will find, all the way down until the G6 and the Pure Mursky, but these two are only rank 4 and 3, so you're not going to be grinding many jets out with it. If you don't care about that, you are not going to be needing this, but you're probably not looking at this anyway. Higher tier Sweden, however, is kind of rough. If you start off with rank 6 here, this is okay, but that's almost it. And then the A32A, the J32B and the J34B or J34, they're all just mid. Then the J35D is basically a gimped version of the one that we are taking out today. Definitely effective in its own regard, but no countermeasures, no chaff, no RWR. It's kind of rough on planes like this, especially with the increasing amount of all aspect missiles that you reach or run into every single day. AJ37 at 10.3 is pretty forgiving. It's actually pretty decent with the custom loadouts right now, but it's more of a ground pounder. Do not expect this thing to win any rewards in air RB. If you are a tanker, which I am clearly not, then you can definitely fly this thing out, use it to ground pound, but I am not going to be doing that. And then we have the JA37C, which is kind of meh at 11.0. It used to be kind of busted, but right now it's just extremely underwhelming. And then you have the same extremely underwhelming plane at 11.7, except it gets different missiles and an absolute ton of countermeasures. It's definitely an upgrade. It's definitely more enjoyable to fly, but keep in mind the 11.7 matchmaker is a lot less forgiving than it would be at 11.0. So they can be effective, they can be fun, but be aware they are definitely not the meta and they are definitely not the best. And then we have the MiG-21 base, and I mean, you can basically get this thing in every tech tree nowadays. So I would say it's not really worth it. Wait until they add something at rank 8 that is worth the grind. Of course, if you buy it earlier on sale, be my guest, you can start grinding out if you're waiting for the Gripen or something. But before we get started with the gameplay today, thank you to all my YouTube members and my Patreons and everyone looking to buy the decal. You can do it down below with the discount link. You get 3% off, I get a cut, and you get a decal. Everybody wins. So for the gameplay, how do we fly this thing? Well, at 10.7 you are going to be meeting 10.3, even 9.7 quite often, and the matchmaker is definitely very forgiving. And you want to fly this thing fast, you want to fly this thing like every other supersonic, because you do have to keep in mind that the energy retention of this thing is going to be extremely subpar, and it is going to be a little bit rough to fly if you like to get your quick kills in, because you have to fly this thing somewhat methodically, because if you expect yourself to rush straight in, start dogfighting everyone, you are just going to be left out of energy very quickly, and you are going to be dying very quickly as well. And it's definitely not advised to start dumping your speed as quickly as you can. You only have 12 countermeasures. I don't run chaff. Why? Because you don't know when your radar locked anyway, so it's really just an absolute waste. Not even gonna flare that one, it's only an Aim-9E, and I'm just dragging this F5C away from the pack here, so I can actually start fighting this guy. I am faster than him, but right now I don't have the speed or the room to get away from him. Until right here. He starts breaking off a little bit, I'm diving out, but again, look at how he is catching us. And he starts shooting at us, we are far away enough, no one chased us, so I'm just gonna start dogfighting this guy. I do want to be careful that I don't stamp on the elevator too hard, give him a very nice broadside. I'd rather reel him in a little bit closer. And then we go vertical. And now we basically already have him reversed. I then snap back in, and yeah, this plane is prone to flat spinning. Be aware of it. If you flat spin this thing 99% of the time, you are going to be dying. What you can do is cut throttle, pop the air brakes out, and then sometimes it stabilizes, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to kind of get a feel for it. Once you get stuck in the loop for long enough, you're done. It's irreversible and you are gonna die. So be careful with very snappy maneuvers in the J35s. I haven't flown the J35 in a good while, basically since the video I did on the J35A, and I didn't flat spin in that thing, so I completely forgot about it. But you learn from your mistakes, and this is the literal game after, so very similar scenario. F5C comes for us, and I'm gonna start pushing up for him, but I don't want to go into his nose, so I pull over it. And now I'm just gonna break off. He has too much position, I'm going too slow. If I try to go vertical there, then he catches me going up very, very slowly because he's stalling on top of me. And if I go downwards, then he is on my 6 anyway. So I'd rather just extend away from the fight, hope that no one actually chases us. Dodge the Aim-9E, no big deal there. And I start cutting in. I don't want to be violent because I'm not going very quick. We are going roughly the same speed. Make him overshoot, we can instantly turn back in. And we do exactly that and put him right back into the hangar. He goes down, we extend away and do nothing for the rest of the match because basically everyone died 20 seconds after that point. And as you can see, even though I have countermeasures, even though I have great maneuverability, I still try to play this thing pretty slowly, and I'm still not trying to just ram myself into the thick of it. Now here's the first game I did in it, so I'm pretty rusty. I'm still kind of like touching and feeling, seeing what to do, what doesn't work, because I haven't flown a J35 in a long ass while. And F14s are definitely going to take priority. F14s are an absolute pain in the ass in this thing. And I don't think I have to tell you why. You don't have RWR, they have Aim-7Fs. It's a bit of a rough position, and even if you get into a dogfight, if he uses its wings well and its energy well, then you're actually going to lose it. A lot of guys think that the J35 will win basically every dogfight. Let me tell you, if the enemy has a lot of energy, you are just going to be running out of it if you don't manage it well. And you probably have to disengage very often, but they can do the same thing and they are going to have a much easier time trying to disengage from you. Head on with the F5C, no sauce, but it's no big deal because we're still going Mach 1, he still needs to turn around. And we're just going to be running away from him. There is no reason to panic, he is not going to be in range anyway. Nose and Ariete pretty slowly in front of us, and this guy will definitely take priority as well, because the Ariete is very annoying to hit in this thing. It's almost impossible to kill even, if he doesn't stall himself out, and if you can't use your missiles on him. Of course, if you have missiles and he's going relatively slowly, then you can just slam him out of the air very easily, but most of the time he's going to be pushing head-ons, and then you're not going to be able to do that. So, crit the F5C, and I'm not going to commit to this fight. I don't want to stall myself out in front of this Ariete, and I'm not really bothered with the other fight with the F5C because he's already crit, he's already damaged. So instead I'm gonna go for the next guy because I'm trying to win. I'm not really too fussed about getting the most amount of kills this match. I'm mostly fussed about trying to win it. And I noticed these two guys in the fight, so I go for the F5C. Other F5C also comes back down, kind of interrupt this fight. F5C is forced to break off, so otherwise he gives me a very easy kill, but he's going so slow that he gives me a very easy kill regardless of the fact that he actually managed to see us. So, the Ariete goes down to the other J35XS, which is great. And now we fly around and we look for other targets. And there's a P51 over there. Now, if that's a P51D, then he's going to accomplish even less. But, I mean, he's really not going to be doing much. F5C is already looping in behind him. And, well, let me tell you, if you're going to try to get God mode, then I advise you to do it in tank RB. Because in plane RB, well, considering you are spotted and everyone sees you and sees an easy kill, you're probably not going to have a great time in it. F4C pops up on our left, and what we want to do now is simply launch a missile at him. We still have 5 left, which is more than sufficient. Shoot the first one over, don't lead it enough, it doesn't pull in enough, but it doesn't matter because I still have 4 left. Second missile out, and I mean, that's an F4C, he's not going to be doing much against an Aim-9J. So, he gets shot down, and then we look for the last guy. Or at least one of the last guys. I'm not sure if there's another one or another 2 in the area, but we are going to be finding him soon enough. It turns out it's only one, and it's going to be an F14. Where is the F14, you might ask? Well, he is of course on the runway. Now, What I'm doing here is actually kind of dumb. I'm keeping my altitude somewhat, but against an F-14 I need to stay low. I do not want to get locked up in the head-on by something like an Aim-7F. Because, well, I don't know if he's locking me with an Aim-7F. So I see him, I instantly break off a little bit. I'm trying to stay off his nose, and if he shoots the missile in then I'm going quick enough, and I should be able to deny him the launch, and that's exactly what happens. He sees us a little bit late, he tries to pull under us, and I'm not really worried about stamping right now, full pulling after him. I have no reason to do so, and he's just kind of trying to flat turn us. He's trying to run us out of energy, but because I'm actually tapping my negative elevator, trying to keep my speed somewhat, I'm able to somewhat stay with him. So I notice we get a little bit closer. There's really no reason here to fire the missile off, because he's just simply too far away. The Aim-9J doesn't have the best amount of range, and I'm just trying to get him to follow me. So I break off here. I keep looking at him because I want to know what he's doing. Fake the break off, fake tapping out, and he instantly comes back in, and he for some reason doesn't want to take the head on. So we go behind him a little bit. We do not try to go for the shot. And then we just kind of send the missile his way. And I hope that he gets scared. I hope that he tries to do something. I hope that he doesn't see it, because he's going head on with an F5C. Luckily for us, he doesn't cut his afterburner. And he eats the missile right in the back of his plane. Next game, same deal. So you want to come in from behind or the side or above even. Just really be careful about your matchmaker, because if you are up tier to like 11.0 and you face America, or you are 9.7 against MiG-21Ss and you go to absolute orbit, you might just find yourself being radar missiled without you noticing it. The first thing I do when I spawn in is look at the BR of my friendlies, look at the enemies that I'm facing, the nations, and then I have planned accordingly. A5C here is shooting a lot of flares, and I know that he only has 12, so I'm just counting. Shoots the last one off, and guess what? He actually shot 12 and he doesn't flare the last one. He goes down before reaching his base, and that's why pre-flaring is really not that great of an idea. AV8, we shoot a missile off. He is pulling in, kind of an off angle. He's probably not going to be seeing it. He does see it, very last second. He dumps his flares, and the missile misses. We notice the A5C on the left there with smoke on is probably AFK or a bot. He's not really trying to contest. So I'm just going to shoot a second missile off. He's probably going to flare it, but I just want him to be pressured. I want him to slow down a little bit, and I do not want the AV8 to get its speed back. So I'm now just on the 6. I'm getting very close. I just got my throttle a little bit, and I just want to make sure that I don't overshoot. And it's not because I'm worried about overshooting and dying. It's because if I overshoot, this fight is going to take me a hell of a lot longer. So I commit. He rolls in front of us. He doesn't turn that well because, well, it's a Harrier. And without VTOL, he literally ain't shit. A5C coming back. I do want to time this so I don't get slammed out of the air. I turn over him. Be careful with the rudder. And then I fire a missile off. And if he doesn't have flares left, which he does have a few, but he keeps afterburning, he's going to eat it regardless. And that's a little 2v1 in 10 seconds. Then we fly to the middle of the map as well. The game is basically already won. A10 is shooting at a Harrier. He's probably not paying attention. Missile him out of the air. And then we fly on to the other A5C, who is engaging one of my teammates. And this makes him a pretty easy kill. I have 60 rounds of cannon rounds left. And one missile, but I think to myself, wait, there is still that guy flying AFK in orbit. So I want to make sure that I keep my missile. So I'm just going to sit on this guy's 6. I don't have to use a missile, even though that probably would have killed him. And I'm just going to wait with it. I am keeping it primed just in case. But the chances of me needing it when this guy is this slow are slim to none. 35 rounds left. It's going very slow, and it makes it a pretty easy shot. The thing is, the gun is still on one side. It's still an Aiden basically without tracers, and it's really awkward to aim. Luckily he goes down, and then I find the A5C in low alt orbit, and I kept the missile kind of primed. I didn't want to fire it because if he then map borders, the missile is in the air for no reason. I only have 7 rounds left and a missile, so I can basically squeeze the trigger once. We'll missile him. Luckily for us, I mean, looks like he's actually AFK. So that's kill number 6. Down he goes, and we go into the next lobby. F14 here, very hot target. He's not going particularly fast, and I'm probably coming in from an off angle. He doesn't get a warning from me either because I have my radar turned off, and that missile finds its mark quite handily. Kill number 1. J7E then, same deal. Well, first missile gets flared, pre-flared even. Second one I just shoot off. I already know this game is basically won, so I'm just gonna ripple fire all of these missiles off. Because look at that, they have like 2 or 3 guys left. One of them is contested, the other one is across the map, and the other one is probably just AFK somewhere. So I'm really not worried about the amount of missiles that I have. I'd rather just spam them out and get another kill that way. So he just kind of flies in front of us, he doesn't really try to dodge, so we line it up, we get a hit in. And the hit is enough for him to say, I've seen enough, I'm going to hug a tree. Bozo down, next match. So we come in from the side, and that F5C is not really paying attention. He's shooting at someone else, probably not going to be flaring. Boom, first strike, on to the next one. So, who do we want to engage now? Well, we have an F4F in front of us, but he's already being shot at by like 20 people, and it's probably the F4F early, which means he's going to accomplish basically nothing, because it's a Phantom without flares, and we all know that they are not the best planes in the lobby. Even though that thing is completely, or it was completely under tiered, now at 10.3 is actually not even that good anymore, even when you get like your own tier, which is I think pretty hilarious how far the power creep has come. So we just stay around the edges, and you can tell that I'm never really trying to go into the middle of the map, because that's asking for trouble, it's asking for a death sentence. And believe it or not, I actually don't want to die, because well, it's not 2016 anymore, am I right? So we just fly back to the main pack of the game and see who we can pick out. We have an F5C who is definitely occupied, which means he's prime time target for an Aim-9J, but the dead plane actually flares it for him, and well, I have to shoot another one. Luckily he's way too slow, we have 6 of them, so I'm really not too fussed about it. He goes down and we simply leave. And I hope that you're noticing just the kind of role that this plane fills. It's not really a support plane in a way, it definitely is as well. But you're not gonna be the main brawler that's going to win the match on its own. You are gonna be able to win the match on your own with a proper team where you come in and clean up everyone. But keep in mind, you're basically limited to your IR missiles. And let's be honest, they are pretty easy to fool if people are actually paying attention. And most of the time, nowadays at least, people very often actually are. The 2 F104s actually kill half my team, or like one guy over there. But now I'm below them and they're probably not going to be looking here. And I kept saying that they're pretty aware nowadays, but are people aware when you come directly from below them? And they are still looking in the heddle. So I shoot off the first missile right here. That should track quite handily, and if he's not looking behind him, and he isn't, then we should have an easy time. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.